All right, I have 3:33 by my 2 clocks, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all again for joining us today. My name is David Oinby. I am the library support specialist for Above the Tree Line. I'm happy to be meeting with you all today for our last librarian office hours of 2025. Thank you all for pre-registering. If you did do that, that makes it easier to know how many people we're expecting at these events and if we need to continue having them. So for today, I just want to say that we'll be going over marketing content. That's basically content from publishers you can look at Edelweiss and how you can possibly use it if you want to prepare any sort of documentation or like coming soon to your collection, or if you just want to use it to inform your collection development decisions, that's completely fine. All this information we're going to be looking at today is free of charge. It's not any sort of subscription like with Edelweiss Library Analytics, anything. It's something that you can access just by having an Edelweiss account tied to your library. I do want to encourage everyone, if you have questions or you need me to go over everything, please just give a shout out in the chat. My colleague Gabriella is going to be monitoring that for me. She does a great job of keeping track of all the questions, sharing some additional documentation. And if there is anything that you all want me to focus on, she will flag me down so I can go over it. But with that, we're going to go ahead and delve right in, and I hope you all get the information you need out of this session. So for starters, if you're seeing my screen, we're looking at a test account that we have for Edelweiss. This is set up like a librarian. We just have some of our default widgets that we get for accounts. So you have your new catalogs, digital review copies, publishers list, catalog search, and any recently viewed catalogs. This is something that you can manage pretty easily for your account. If you just click on this add widgets side, you can, when it loads, you can add other widgets that you may find useful. Interesting. I do apologize. It normally doesn't take this long. There we go. So yeah, you can see you can add different collections. So like if a collection is basically a personal catalog tied to your account. If you want to track like your wish list there, you can add that as a widget. I'll go ahead and do that here just for the sake of demonstration. Voila. See, this account doesn't have any collections. Shame on it. But we can maybe work in that today so you can see. So how do you find publishers and catalogs in Edelweiss? It's pretty easy. There are two ways you can do it. If you have a specific publisher that you want to look at, so let's say I want to see what's going on at Penguin Random House, you can do that. Just go search there. We're going to go right to their page. This is going to show you all the current catalogs they have available right now. So you see here we have these. You also have information pages that can let you see if there's any contacts for like marketing. For instance, if you saw in a library journal or school library journal that there is like a free kit or something, they may have information on your information page about how to get to it. You also have information for reps that is primarily aimed at retailers, but I would encourage you to always take a look at it if you're at libraries, because some of the publishers do have specific library reps. So if you come here, they may have a specific contact you can reach out to if you're interested in any books or you have a question or something. It's just kind of a catch-all page, so you can set up that initial point of contact. But for catalogs, we're going to click into Buzz catalog. It's always something new and fun at Penguin Random House. And today, this is our first librarian office hours that will be entirely done using our new list view. For those of you that weren't aware, we cut over to the new list view for all users at the beginning of September. Personally, I like it. It has a lot more functionality. It's a lot easier to like condense down information. So you'll see here we have everything in this current catalog, and you'll see over here the sidebar is always your friend. This is how you can expand or include sections. You also have the option here, if you go up to preferences, this is going to show you the whole menu of what you can or cannot display. So example, I know what we're going to be looking at today. We're probably going to want to look at marketing content. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that, enable comps, and we'll go ahead and do images as well. All right, we'll do tags just for the heck of it. Okay, so what I've done there is this is a permanent change to the overall display for the catalog. So if when you make a change here, it's going to follow you from catalog to catalog. It's not just for this specific catalog that you're looking at. So keep in mind that, like if there's some things you want to see, like I always want to see comps, but I don't care if I see illustrations or something like that. And then you also have, like I said, the sidebar is your friend, the option to expand to expand or collapse content. So I'm going to open up our content, which is where most of the marketing content that we're going to be talking about today comes from. And we're also going to expand comps, just because that's a nice section to look at. Like if you're maybe doing some collection development, want to make sure that you have you like if you want to add something related to a title when you're considering adding to your collection. So let's take a look at School Lunch Revolution. It's cookbook. These can be kind of fascinating. I know a long time ago, I used to work at a ag vet library. We had these old punch cards for recipes from school cafeterias from like the 50s and 60s. It was kind of interesting what was considered child kosher at that point. But so here you can see, this is all going to be information from the publishers. You have your cover image. You have when the book will be published. You have your on sale date. You also always have your pub date right after the definition of back or front list. We'll see standard retail price, your BISAC codes. If there's more than one, if you click here, you can see what the publisher has provided for this. I do know that unfortunately you won't be able to see Dewey in this view. Very few of the publishers that we work with provide Dewey headings for us. So Dewey is a separate system that really is only open to analytic subscribers. But you can get a lot done with BISAC. You can see pages, you can see the amount of photography or like photos or other descriptions that's been provided. And you do have you had this lovely cover image. So I want to go back to fast forward this because I did confirm. I know there have been a couple of librarians who've asked me about this in the last 2 months. Can we use this image? And the answer is yes. Yeah, this is basically considered a promotional image. So let's say you ordered this School Lunch Revolution and you wanted to say, hey, this is coming to our collection soon, maybe put up a little pamphlet or flyer, digital signage, something. You could use this for that. You're not trying to sell it or do anything with that, so it's free game. You also do have the option to look at any images that have been provided. So these I would be a little bit more hesitant to just splash all over the place because it is like actual content. But like if you wanted to look at these to see what may be in the book, or maybe like share a little teaser with some of your users at the library to know that they can find a recipe for chicken congee or falafel or anything like that, you can certainly do that. And it gives you a nice little demonstration of what the book may look at like without having to go into a digital review copy or something. Moving on from that, we have comps. So comps are publisher provided. I will preface this by saying some publishers are better than others about comps. Penguin Random House is pretty good. They're very tailored, very neat. Some publishers kind of have comps as a catch-all list, and they add things that may or may not seem as directly related, so just keep that in mind. But it may be like if you think your audience would like this would be some other ones, generally from the same publisher, that you can consider adding in your next order. And I'm going to go ahead and collapse this just so you can see that, and we can look at the more direct marketing content. So here we're looking at content. And this is typically provided by the publisher through an Onyx file, which is a metadata standard like MARC. Some send it to another way or do it manually, but Onyx is how we get a lot of our data. And you can see here the summary will always be kind of like, typically it matches pretty close to what you get on the back or front of the desk jacket. Then you have your contributor bios. You do have links. Some of our publishers like Penguin Random House do provide alternative images here. So like if you did want an even higher quality version of that cover image, you could have it and save it. You also have marketing plans. This is something that you can see like where the publisher is kind of thinking the audience for this is, along with publicity. You can get links. This one has the author website, but you may also see like links if there was a sort of video to it. I'll see if I can find one of those for you. I know Usborne for Children's has a lot of those. I'll try to see if we can see like some of the different things that come in through links. Key selling points will be sort of like marketing content, but it can be like it's a good like tagline if you want, like sometimes that could be like a quick snapshot review or something like that. And you do have some quotes, like generally for reviews. This could also be quotes from the book. And you can see here, I'm just going to drop down rather than scroll back up here on Pony Confidential. You can see in Edelweiss if something has won a sort of an award. So here we have Pony Confidential has qualified for Indie Next. It also has a Library Journal Star Review, and it is a Shelf Awareness Picks. So you have that. You also have the average community rating for this title and the number of reviews that's gotten so far. So 11 is pretty early, but it just came out. Now, I do want to say that if you're interested in looking at honors, a way that you can manage your catalogs or any sort of titles you're looking at is if you click over to filters. So you have the save filter options up here. I'm sure Gabriella probably knows what this icon is supposed to represent. I've never been able to figure out how that relates to filters for fair warning. But yeah, so I'm going to do add a new filter. When it loads, we're going to take a look and you can see how you can set these up to mine your searches a little bit better. So we have Edelweiss. Oh, it's a funnel. I never got that. slow to learn. So Edelweiss vendor is going to be what you can do if you want to do specific publishers. So let's say you did want to look at Penguin Random House and a bunch of others. You could go down to you could go down and add them. Plus is going to set them to always include. If you select the minus, that's going to exclude them for any search. You do have your review copy availability. The one thing I did want to highlight here is Lexile levels. You cannot see Lexile levels in Edelweiss yet. That is something we're working on, but we do overwhelmingly receive Lexile information from our publishers. So if you're selecting for like a children or young adult collection, you can use these to kind of add filters if you want a specific Lexile level and get some really good results out of it. You can also, if you do publication date, here's where you can say that I only want to look at front list, which is just going to say that like we're only looking at anything that's published or will be available in about the next 90 days, maybe a little bit farther out. Or you can do backlist, or you can do a specific date range, like if you want from today to the next 6 months out, so you can save that. There's no limit to how many filters you have, so feel free to mix and match. You'll see like the one that we're looking at right here, I have for cookbooks. I edit my filter. You can see for this, I'm looking at 2 months out. I have the subjects from Bizac of like what I want to look at. It's getting close to Thanksgiving. Why not think about some holiday recipes? And it's going to narrow it down to these. See the cake cookbook and all that good jazz. And then if you did want to take a broader view, let's say that you didn't know what publisher you wanted to look at or something like that, if you click over to catalogs, you can take a look at any catalogs that are available from any publishers. So if I go to all publishers and give it a moment to load, here's what we have going out for the next in the last 3 months without any filters. So then like if I would add a filter, I could do that. But you can see here we do have a pretty wide area of collection development you can possibly look in, like academic titles like the Michigan State University Press, more general ones like Hachette or your Penguin Random House. You can take a look at that. I'll pop into this one real fast and just let it load. All right, so you see here we have comp titles and everything. You'll notice that these preferences followed me from our last catalog, but I could still collapse down if I wanted. But yeah, you can take a look at this and see if anything matches you. You do have the option if you search here, this is going to be a search of the entirety of Edelweiss. But if you notice this search bar here, you have like a drop-down menu of the titles in this catalog, but you can also search by title or ISBN if you were looking for something specific into it. And let's say that I know that I want to think about having Supergut in my collection. Go ahead. You could shelve it on any of these shelves, but if we do create new collection, wish list, create and add. You see I've added this one. I could add other ones. There are 2 ways you could do that. You could do it the way same way I did right here, where just to add to collections, or you could go ahead and if you selected multiple ones using either this top checkbox or all of them, you could go and add in bulk. What that does is when you go back over to catalogs here, where we just were a moment ago, you can see under my collections, I now have a new one. And you can see my development wish list where I have here, and I can have as many as I want in there. You'll also notice if we go back to our home page where I created that widget, you now have one just for the development wish list, and this would expand if you do other ones. So what we've covered so far is we've looked at how we can search by publisher. I'm going to do one other because I said that you do see some other information in the product linked one. So let's go to Usborne. All right, we try this. They are UK Pub. I'm sorry to do this. So what I'm doing here is I'm switching the market view. Most of our library accounts are set up by US Trade for default, but you can change it anytime if you want to look at other markets. So for here, I'm going over to the UK Trade, save. And the reason that matters is because a lot of information now is market specific in Edelweiss, since we do work with more international publishers than we did several years ago. So things like your images or your marketing content that we were looking at earlier can be, that's market specific. So you don't need to worry about possibly having the UK jacket or anything. And, then you don't have to worry about some of the differences between US and UK spelling. But I want to highlight them because I know they always seem to have something nifty in their links. Can't find it now. Give me just 1 second. I do apologize for this. I have to go find my list of examples. Sorry about that. No products found. Well, that's not good. I must have delisted it. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, basically there would be like an embedded video in the product links where you could see like watch a video of the author reading some chunk of their book. Usborne and Scholastic do that quite a bit. I'm going to pop back over to the US trade market. So we have that. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amelia. So we've covered publishers and catalogs. That behavior is kind of consistent throughout. I do want to highlight just a real quick thing. If you go to review copies, this is really what we're known for. And, this is going to be a much deeper view than you get with just marketing content or the sample or illustrations that we provide at the top level. So if you go, if you go here, you have several options. You do have digital review copies. This is going to be the overwhelming majority of the way that you're going to get review copies in Edelweiss. I want to highlight how you can do that. So you'll notice that here we have this little orange or manila, whatever color you want to call it. If you see this icon, that means that you have to request access to it. So if I click here, it's going to show the request. There are two parts of this really. The first is that you set up a general profile, which should be like things related to your job or your selection area of responsibilities. So if you look here, you can see I've set up this one for the test account where I'm selecting Librarian, who also runs a monthly book club. So I'll save that. And then this will follow me to all my accounts. And then if I save that, see this, and then you have why you want to view this specific title. So for this one, carry on by Thornapple, evaluation purposes, acquisition. But you could say if you're a librarian, you could do course adoption, or you're advocating because you want something like maybe it is like a monthly book club or something like that, or just reviewing. So you do that, you write up a short blurb about why you want to do this and send it off to the publisher. One of the publisher agents or rep will review these requests and approve. It's not guaranteed. I will go ahead and say that publishers have wide and broad discretion about whether they want to approve or not. But I do know a lot of our publisher partners are very generous with libraries. Some of them even have set up pre-approval if you're not on a test account. So if you went and looked at this, you may see that you don't have to submit a request. It's just available to you. And if it's available to you automatically, it will look like this. It'll be nice and green. You'll see that instead of a hand, you have a download option. If you wanted to download it directly to Kindle or similar device like that, you could. We also have this option. It's called Read an Edelweiss Reader. I want to encourage anyone that may do collection development for any sort of image-rich books like your graphic novels, your children's books, or maybe like photography or something like that. This will be your friend. It's just so difficult to get review copies or any sort of digital copy that's image rich to kind of ran through that feed to get into devices. And what this allows you to do is you can read it in browser, any browser, like major browser, like Chrome, Firefox, like that, you can. You can scroll through and read at your leisure, just like you would on your Kindle. And then let's say that you're done, you're going to have to step away or something like that. So I'm just going to close out of this. But then when I go back to it, it will remember my place. So it's going to pick up right where you left off. So if you get interrupted, don't worry about it being an in-browser reader. So long as you're signed in when you're accessing it, you're going to be able to pick up right where you left off. The other options that we do have some audio review copies. So this will be typically a digital audio review copies. And we do have, it's possible that you may see some physical requests that you can do in Edelweiss. I do just want to let people know that that's something that publishers are doing less and less. So I'm pretty sure the number has gotten less ever since I started working with Edelweiss about 4 years ago. But it's also true that I can think of at least 2 occasions where someone wrote in where they had requested a physical book and the publisher had asked, they'd asked to remit for shipping costs from the person. So that's something that you may want to consider. That's not a policy we're enforcing, but if they do request that you pay for shipping, you may be on the hook for that. You also have some broader options. So you do have this that will let you look at those that are only available in the Edelweiss reader. And you have 2 other options to either look at downloads or request. Then you can also manage any that you have been approved for, any that you're open, any that were declined by the publisher or canceled because you may have misclicked and didn't actually want to request that. If you do review copies, in addition to just being a librarian, which is a great tool, I would encourage everyone to submit reviews. So if you get a digital review copy and you submit reviews, you have options to choose who you send it to. But if you add it, you're building that profile, you look more active and engaged, and that may weigh in the mind of any of the publisher reps that are looking at your account. You can share it with the publisher if you want, you don't have to. I would recommend sharing it with Library Reads, and you can also nominate whatever you've been reading for the Library Reads Award if you want to do so. So in addition to review copies, one other thing I want to touch on briefly is you can build orders in Edelweiss. If I go back and go to Michigan today, or Michigan State, excuse me. So you can see here we have some options for this library. We have different branches and stuff, but if I want to create a new order, you could, if you want to put comments about like what this order is for, you can put purchase order number if you want to. Vendor codes generally aren't used by library, but like there is a discount or consortium code, you could put that there. And we're going to save without binding. Binding just means that it's not tied to this specific catalog by itself. You can take this order and shop among other catalogs. So I'm going to say, no. All right. So you can see here, these boxes are orange now. That means that you could kind of like create a wish list. So if you go here, you could do like 1 for your main, and you want 2 in a different branch or anything like that. Scroll down, pick 1 here. Or just to grab us some numbers, and you'll see here up the top, it's keeping track. So we have 3 titles or 8 units. Titles will always be like your bid record. Units will be the number of items. It is going to be the standard retail price, so it will not reflect like a wholesaler discount that you may get from Ingram. But now that we have an order, let's say that I've been shopping around and I want to give something to my fine people in the acquisitions or technical services department. Go here and export. See here, Baker and Taylor, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with that. I should have checked to make sure this was enabled, but we do have, in addition to Baker and Taylor, we also support Ingram iPage or Bibs by Brodart. And you just need to have that enabled. If you don't have it enabled, you can always reach out to us at the support@abovethetreeline.com and we can set you up for it. But you could download this, you'd have a nice little CSV file that you could then upload to iPage or Bibs and take with you and have everything good to go. The only thing it doesn't do is like if your library has like custom processing or anything like that, your acquisitions or technical services folks would need to add in that information. But hey, it gets you out of having to you basically recreate the cart from scratch. They can just have a nice drop down and go ahead and hopefully shave a little bit of time off that process. So those are all the free tools that you get with Edelweiss. There are others that I don't want to waste too much time on, but I want to make sure I always like to leave plenty of time for questions or comments. So is there anything that you were expecting to look at today or see that I did not touch on, or any questions or comments you want to share? The floor is open. My time is yours. Oh, let's see. Lisa, I see your question. Sorry about that. I will send you an email. I will send you an email separately because we may have to confirm some information there, but I'll reach out after this session so we can start that conversation. All right. I'm not seeing anything coming in right now. I will give it just another moment or two, but if you're not interested and you don't have any questions, feel free to drop from this session. Lisa, like I said, I'll reach out to you separately about library analytics and some of the tools there. Uh, Kelly, so I don't know if Gabriella has all the links that she shared today, but I can say where most of this information comes from, and I should have covered this. I'm sorry, it slipped my mind. In the upper right of Edelweiss, you have this nice little question mark icon. Here you have our knowledge center. So in addition to our support email, you have the ability to come here at any time of the day to get answers. There's a specific sections for librarians. I would highlight the librarian training page because this is a great like one-stop shop to get started in Edelweiss. You can have start at the beginning and get to the bottom, and you'll have a pretty good grasp of how to use the site from here on in. We also support different learning styles. You can watch or read as is your preference. And if you are interested in using it in other ways, if you come back here, you can see we do have librarian analytics. This would be stuff that for our subscription payers that is useful. But you do have this for if you want to look at how to use this for reading advisory and collection development in your collection. So one click to expand. So in the new list view, there isn't exactly a one click to expand everything. But what you can do is if you set these preferences to what you want expanded, Chrissy, you can use that to like make sure all those sections are expanded whenever you look at a catalog. Do be cautious. Some of the sections get smushed if you're in the two column view. So if you like to look at a lot of stuff, I would encourage you to stick with this like broader lane view like that. Sabrina, no, they're currently not downloadable MARC records. That is something we're considering, but it's not ready yet. So, Sammy, for the librarian training page, promotional material would just basically be the marketing material that I showed, like where you can look at the content here under summary or something like that. If you're wanting like promotional material, like a product, like I know Scholastic, I think, has done this before, where they've sent out a mailer, like either through email, library journal, where it says if you look at this catalog, you can get like some sort of kit or something. You can't actually order that or interact with it directly at Edelweiss, but that would be something where if you went to the publisher page and you went to the information pages, they may have additional instructions like a specific email or rep or something that you can contact, and that's how you could get that. Sorry, I see someone posted something in QA. All right. Not a problem, Sammy. Happy to help. But yeah, that's yeah, that they definitely would probably be able to get that. And if you do have an option like where a staff member may not have an Edelweiss account, if you have an account, make sure you have user administration permissions, because what you can do, you can add different users to your account. So if I go here, see this one doesn't have any privileges. If I cheat, maybe not. But you can see here, like, let me let me let me be creative for a second. Sorry. Okay, so now a little behind the scenes magic, as it was. You would have the option to possibly add users if you want to. So if you came here, you can like add users here. If you wanted to invite a new member of your staff, you can do it here by email. Now, the benefit of doing this, I do want to say, is that this is going to tie them with your library account. So that will be beneficial, like for making requests for DRCs and stuff. If you are unclear if your library has an account, or maybe all the user administrators are no longer with the library because some of these accounts were set up some time ago, just write out to us at support@abovethetreeline.com. We can take a look and see, like, we can add someone as a current staff member as a user administrator, or help you if you're running into a snag where someone can't be added to your account for some reason or another. All right. Is there anything else I can answer for you all today? All right. Well, I do want to thank you all for coming. Like Gabriella said, there will be a recording that we can make sure gets out to those who were here today and those who were registered for the session. We do really appreciate your time. We're here to help. And if you are interested in anything else, please just do feel free and contact us at support@abovethetreeline.com. For librarians, it will likely be me you're talking to, so hi in the future. And if I'm unavailable for any reason, why, my other colleagues will be more than happy to help. But thank you all for coming today. I hope you all have a great evening and afternoon.